Welcome to EnigmaCast Nerds. I got a special guest on tonight, a new friend I made by coming across one of his videos on YouTube, and I tracked him down, finally bribed him enough to come on my show. Tim Gayhart, thank you for being on my show, Tim. Please introduce yourself real quick.
Thank you for having me on your show. I'm Tim Gayhart, co-founder of Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. We've been doing research since 2021, and we have a group on Facebook, it's Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. We have over 5,000 members, and if you join the group, please answer all the questions because if you don't, you won't get in. And we have a YouTube channel. I've only got like 20 some videos up right now. I just started it back in, I think it was October. But I've done many podcasts, been on many different people's shows.
Correct. And so, Tim, what's the name of your YouTube channel real quick?
Ohio Bigfoot Researchers.
Okay, Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. Enigmites, all that will be in the description of this video as we get along with it. And again, my man, the one-eyed wonder out of North New Jersey up there, Sasquatch Steve Taylor. It's been a minute. Tell him what's up, Steve.
Hey, how you doing, Joe? It's been I was just thinking the other day, the last time we were on, I think it was probably our year-end recap show.
No, there was one more. We have one more on that. So, anyways, you might not know this. Steve has been looking for dinosaurs deep in the Congo. Had a bad bout of malaria with mosquitoes. Almost lost his one working eye.
One good eye.
Had to come on back, but he's here tonight to sit down to have a great conversation with Tim. And Enigmites, Tim has a very amazing story about a Dogman encounter that he has, but that's just not his only level of expertise. He's into the Sasquatch world as well. And again, like I was telling them pre-show, I get pulled in a lot of different directions, and I've been talking about, conspiracies, UFOs, and all this other stuff. And you guys know, man, every now and then I got to get back to the roots, back to the Dogman, back to the things that go thump in the night. So again, Tim, I can't wait to get into this story and share it with all of our followers and everything as well. And so, Tim, just for our listeners, when you say that you're Ohio Bigfoot Research, I'm assuming you're in Ohio. That's where you're currently at, right? I know that's an easy softball question right there. So you're in Ohio, right? Okay. So don't sleep on cryptids in Ohio, Enigmites. They're everywhere, right? So, So Tim, please, if you could, we've talked about that story, but if you could please just share that encounter with us, man, that'd be awesome.
Well, the first full body encounter that of the Bigfoot was in April of 2021 at a park here in Ohio, which is Salt Fork State Park. It's in the southeastern part of Ohio and just in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And it was the first one that I really truly seen, knowed exactly what it was. I mean, I've had other encounters in the woods of when I was hunting and stuff at night and in the daytime. But this one I seen full vision of it. It was about 80 to 90 yards up on the hillside, and it walked from big old oak tree over about 15 foot to a big beech tree, which these trees they're old growth trees. I mean, they're humongous. I mean, 40 inches at least around. And it was dark black. It was probably 8 foot to 9 foot tall. Had probably a 4.5 foot shoulder span on it.
Wow.
I couldn't tell if it was a male or female because it was too far, and the sun was behind it. It was on the ridge line, and all I could see was just the body shape and color.
So it was 9 feet tall, and it was black, right?
Yeah.
And what? So I've only been to Cleveland one time, right? I don't have a lot of Ohio experience, but so on the Ohio map, would that be North Ohio, South Ohio? Where would that?
Cleveland's northern Ohio is And Salt Fork would be southeastern Ohio, almost down to West Virginia.
Okay, so that's where. Right. Okay, that makes sense to me now. So you
I
said
would say makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, the foothills of the Appalachians. Okay, and so Tim,
Yeah.
were you actively out hunting these things, or was this just a camping trip, or what?
Well, we went to Salt Fork. We joined a Bigfoot group, and we heard about seeing people seeing Bigfoot down there and everything. I always wanted to go down there deer hunting when I was able to hunt, but never ended up going. So we just took us a weekend trip. They was having a camp out. The group was down there at a group camp. They do Bigfoot research on the weekends down there, and it's a primitive camping area. And it's Bigfoot groups rent it because it's a group camp. You have to be a group to be able to rent that area. And so we went down to the camp out and stuff, and they have a meeting every night. They have people tell their encounters around at night at the fire ring. Everybody meets at a certain fire ring in the camping area, and you tell your encounters and you share your pictures and all that if you got them. And then usually they usually go out, split up and go out on night investigations, and they do day investigations. So we ended up going down there just to see what it was, to learn more about the Bigfoot. And here in Ohio, they're called the Grassman. And so we ended up down there, and we was out exploring the park, trying to find this camping area. So we was exploring the park and trying to find the camping area because we'd never been there. It was our first trip to Salt Fork. And then we went over to the it's called Hoosack Cave area. And we was looking around there, and that's when I had my first full body encounter with a grass man.
Well, that's awesome. So I got some newbie questions for you I can ask real quick. All right. So me and Steve we've actually dug into some pretty good Bigfoot encounter stories. We've several out the Hanobian incident in Oklahoma. We did a couple in Alaska. What was that place in Alaska, Steve?
Port Chatham.
Yeah, Portlock event or whatever. But I've never heard them called. I know this is going to might sound like a noobish question to Ohio-lander there. Why do you call him the Grassman? I'm just curious on that.
The natives in Ohio, when it was before the settlements and stuff, they called them the Grassmans because Ohio, in the flat areas of Ohio, all the way into Indiana to southern Midwest, Kentucky and stuff. This all used to be like plains, like grass plains. So that's the reason they became the grass man. They made grass nests and structures.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Like I said, well, we grew up. I'm in the mountain range now. Yeah, so I didn't know that. So okay, Steve, did you know that?
No, I hadn't heard that before. I like it.
Man, there you go, Tim. Ching ching! You just taught these two nerds something cool on there. All right, bet. So Tim.
Yeah, Ohio was like like they call Africa, the Serengetis.
Okay.
So this was what Ohio was like a Serengeti, like out west, the Great Plains and stuff. So most of the natives, they called them Grassman because it's mostly grassy swamp stuff before the settlement since come in here and started farming and all that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. And so you said also the area that you encountered this Grassman at, there was like kind of a cave system over there anywhere?
Yeah, it's called Hoosack Cave. It's more like it's not a cave that goes down in the ground, but there is a cave in that area that has a hidden entrance that if you don't know where it is, it does go down in the ground. But the cave they call Hoosack Cave is more like a big hangover, like a 40-foot hangover. And it's probably from the base of it to the top of it is probably close to 25 feet.
Wow.
and it's probably 50 to 60 feet wide. I mean, you could shelter under it, but I mean, it's not a cave that you can go way, way back in.
Yeah. So Steve and I, through a lot of our research that we've came across, is that there more oftentimes than not, when you find hotspot areas of Sasquatch activity, there's caves of some sort like nearby. And then, wouldn't you agree with that, Steve?
I would say, and not even just Sasquatch. It seems like often many different cryptids. There's always a cave system involved somewhere. You know, even the our little friends up in the Northeast.
The Pugwudgies.
Yeah, the Puckwudgies.
yeah, them little
you know,
rascals.
even them, they were hiding out in cave systems too. So it just seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
That's just the spot. I mean, it makes sense. It's what better place to hide and keep yourself concealed, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So Tim, another question. So are the Grassman, are they mean? Are they considered aggressive and mean?
Eastern part of the United States, they're considered the more aggressive ones.
Okay.
They're more territorial, but compared to some of the other Bigfoots in the United States and Canada, they're not near not as aggressive as some of the others.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I don't know if you've done any research on the ones in Oklahoma, but they're tell them, Steve,
they'll mess you up. We had a couple stories that came out of Oklahoma with the Bigfoot, and I mean, they were destroying people's homes. They were taking out. Remember the very early one, the War of 1800s, where they were fighting. They were ripping apart the natives. Like they're intense out there.
Yeah, the ones in Oklahoma they're cannibals. They're terrible. All right, so okay. Well, all right. So Tim, one more. What's that, Steve? You good?
No, I'm good.
So another question for you. I'll throw this. I ask this every time to all Bigfoot researchers, and I get different answers from almost every different type of Bigfoot researcher we talk to. So Tim, what do you think the Grassman is? And when I say is, I'm talking about, do you think it is a, some unknown, unprediscovered, giant ape, or something much, much, much more in detail?
No, it's not. They're not ape.
Okay.
They might have this body size bigger than ape. Most people they say they're ape because there's no other known species that's even close to the size they are. They are more a hybrid human than they are any kind of ape. They have more intelligence than any ape ever has.
Right.
They got the intelligence of a human being. They move in their terrain just like a military troop does. Everything they do is set up and done a certain way.
Okay. So yeah, well, Steve and I, from our research that we've done and talking to people on that, I've come to the conclusion too, is that they are, like you said, they're very intelligent, and if they were mindless, just based purely on hunger and survival, we would have already identified them a long time ago. But there's definitely something much, much more to them than just that simple gigantic Pithecanthropus theory that some people like to say, right? That they're just lumbering through the woods and banging on trees. There's more to that banging on trees or them hoots or whatever than what's going on, right? Steve, would you agree, Steve?
Absolutely, yeah. If they were dumb, basically, we would have found them and caught them by now, right? Yeah. They know what they're doing. They know how to conceal themselves and stay hidden. So they're definitely not dumb.
Yeah, and also too, on previous shows, I mean, we've got to talk to a lot of really good Bigfoot researchers, Harley Owens, Chuck Larson, from different places, and some great theories on them. And one thing that and based on those conversations that I've had with these guys, man, and from what Steve and I have just learned, just by our research that we've done on them, is that they have the full range of everything that the humans have. I would call us humans: emotions, intelligence, critical thinking, tactical abilities, right? I think they bury their dead. I think they take their dead. As a matter of fact, I know they take their dead away, because we did a story.
Mm-hmm.
What was
Zenobia. Yeah, because the one they shot the one and they dragged him off.
Yeah, so the brothers shot one in their front yard, and then two of them came and got the body and hauled it off, and a hiker, just a random hiker, reported to the sheriff that he just saw two Bigfoots carrying a dead Bigfoot through the woods, right? Also, I just made a new friend. His episode's live right now on my channel. His name is Doc Brown, Justin Brown, right? And he's from the Prometheus Lens podcast. Tim, are you familiar with his work by chance?
No.
So he just wrote. I'm sorry.
I'm in a lot of groups, and I know a lot of different researchers from podcasters and stuff, but no, I don't know him.
So he just wrote a book. It's on the wall back there next to me being Darth Joseph back there. It's called The Epic of Esau, right? And it's a fascinating read. And his story, his theory was it's that I don't know if you're familiar with the book of Jasher, on how Esau was actually a Bigfoot. So, and I know at first saying that you will chuckle, but when you go read and you do the research and you get into what's going on, you're like, hold up, man. Like, at a minimum, you could say he wasn't a man. Like he was something else, right? He was not human, right? He was something else, right? So it's a great book. It's on Amazon. It's only $20. It's a great read to go and look at it on that, man. So I highly recommend to go and do it, right? And again, if you want to see the Cliff Notes, it's live, right? Enigma, it's go in the archives. I don't know when this will drop, but go in the archives. Episode 65 with Doc Brown, the Prometheus Lens podcast guest I had on. It's a great read about Esau. And if you don't know who Esau is, you're a bunch of heathens. And go read the Bible, then go read that on there as well. So, all right, Tim, changing gears, man. Changing gears, all right? So, Tim, you've not only had a Bigfoot experience, but you also have had what I would call a fairly new phenomenon for me and my buddy Steve here, is a Dogman, right? Like, I've only really been into this Dogman for almost about a little bit over a year now, before I even what was a Dogman. I just thought they were werewolves, right? But that's there's something much, much, much more to that, right? So Tim, could you share that story with us, please?
Yeah, that's that. The Dogmen are. I was never aware of them until that night.
Okay.
And
trial by fire at that point, huh?
Yeah,
you learn the hard way.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing to learn instantly. I mean, like seeing a Bigfoot, that changes your whole world. I mean, then you've been told lies all your life. Then when you see a Dogman, then there's a lot more out there in this world that is not told to you that's out there. And there's creatures running around that thinks you are a snack. And we was at a camp out down in Salt Fork. This was in 2022. Now, I'd only been doing this research for about a year when this occurred. So if you're looking for a Bigfoot, you better keep in mind you could run into Dogman too, because they both share the same territories.
Right.
They both need to. These cryptids needs basically all the same things, and if it's in that area, you could run into either one. We was at Salt Fork, and I think it was October of 22. Was at a camp out. We met up with this one gentleman after the campfire and stuff, and we all decided to go over to the cave area. He rode with us in our car. We go over there. We're showing him that it's just getting dusky dark, so it's It's around 8:30, somewhere's 8:45. It's just about ready to get dark. We're walking him down through there and showing him where we've seen several different Bigfoots, females, males, little ones in this same area. And we're walking down through there, and I was showing him all the different places, me and my wife. Then we come back up, and they wanted to go up to the cave area. And I'm like, you can't go up to the cave. You ain't got no flashlights, and that trail is very narrow. And it's dark by then. And they said, well, we'll take our time, and I know the trail pretty good. I'm like, okay, but it's dark. I don't know how you're going to do it. So they go toward the cave up the trail. I'm standing there in the parking area behind our car, smoking a cigarette, watching everything. Once I hear them coming, running, the fastest they could run down through there. And now they ain't got no lights, and it's pitch dark. You can't see 10 foot in front of you. There's no kind of lighting down there at all. They come running out of there. They're both ghost white, panting, shaking. And I'm asking them, what's going on? What's going on? Why'd you come running out of there? One of the Bigfoot after you? And they go, no, it's a Dogman. Dogmen are up in there. And I'm like, what is a Dogman? Because I never heard of no such thing. And he's standing there explaining, well, it's like a werewolf, but it's another cryptid, and it's here in the United States, they call them Dogmen. They're not a werewolf. And he said, I've met them face to face a couple times. And so we're standing there. He's explaining this. They're telling the details of what they look like, because they was up on the ridge above them, and that's the only reason they seen them, because they was up on the ridge above them, and they was skylighted, and they could see them. There was 4 of them. And while we're standing there talking about this, then I look down to my left down the dead end road there, because it's a lake, a man-made lake, and they dead ended the roads back when they made the lake. And I see these 2 big yellow balls glowing in the woods. And I'm like, I go, what is that down there looking at us? What's some glowing lights down there? And got to paying attention to it and stuff. And he said, well, that's their eyes glow. He said, that's their eyes doing that. And I'm like, their eyes can glow without lights being shined at it? Now, this is the first time I've seen this phenomenon too. Now, this is coming to real reality real quick here. And I got to looking at them, and you can see them moving up and down, looking like this, swaying, looking. Looked up probably 70, 80 yards above this one, because it's probably 500 yards to the lake down that way. But it's an old road, then the hill, and the hill's covered all in timber. And I'm watching, I come looking up this way toward the car a little closer. Here's another set of these things looking around a tree. And I'm going, okay, that's 2. So I look a little closer toward the car, almost directly across from us. The hill goes back up in toward the cave like this. And here's another set of these eyes that's looking around the side of a tree. And I'm like, okay, there's 3. They said there was 4. So I looked to my right over on the other side of the trail where you go up to the cave. The hill comes back this way and goes up the west. That's the way you have to go out. Here's a set of eyes down closer to the ground over here, because the brush is not as there's brush instead of trees. And the trees are back just a little further. And here's another set of eyes looking at us. I'm like, oh man, they're trying to get around us.
Yeah.
But good thing we had the lake behind us. And they both started getting sick, really sick, dizzy, headaches. You can see them standing there swaying, my wife and that man, that gentleman, and they're standing there going like this, and they're getting sick. And I'm like, what's going on with you? And my wife said, I got a headache. I feel like I need to throw up. He said, I'm getting the same way. I'm dizzy. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, I think we're being hit with infrasound. And I'm like, yeah, he's more knowledgeable at the time then than I was about everything. And because we're just new into this. We only been in doing it for about a year or so. And I said, I kept watching these things because I've got them on both sides of us. And I'm like, do we need to leave? He said, well, not really right this second. They're trying to figure out what they can do. And I'm like,
Tim.
well,
Tim, hold on. Yeah, should we leave? Yeah, the answer is yes.
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt Tim's story, but I was going to say, I would have been in that car the second they came running back from the trail. I wouldn't even sat around to look for the eyes. I would have been in the car and we'd have gone. That would have been it. Yeah. I would have never seen those eyes in the first place.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Sorry, Tim. Yeah, you guys are like having that conversation. Like, you guys, look, if I ever go to combat, I want you guys to go with me and Steve, man. Y'all are cool under pressure. I'll tell you that, man.
That is funny.
Hey, if you're out there researching, you want to see what you're seeing, what it is, what's causing this phenomenon going on.
That's
here.
A good point, there, I guess.
You ain't never going to find it if you're always running away.
That's fair. I would have. Okay, then let me rephrase. I would have at least gotten into the car, so that way, if they start coming, just turn it on and go. That would have been, at least be in the safe zone.
If you're going to die, you're going to die only once.
That's it, Tim. I like, put that on a t-shirt, Tim. If you're going to die, you're only going to die once, man. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry, Tim. All right, so pick up where we left off, Tim. You were talking to him.
We stand there discussing about if we should leave or not. Then here comes this truck in. These people get out, and we say hi to them and stuff, and they said, well, we're going to go up to the cave, and we're standing there. Said, no, you don't want to go up to the cave right now. I said, it's a dangerous situation right here, right now. And the man that was with us, his name was Josh, and he starts telling them, hey, you don't want to go up in there right now. It's too dangerous. He said, you see, he started pointing the eyes out and stuff. He said, you see these eyes and stuff? This is Dogman. And he says, you don't want to be in there. And he said, because you're not going to go back out alive if you go back in there right now. And he says, we're trying to figure out if we should be leaving or we're assessing the situation that we're in right now. And they said, oh, whatever. And he said, well, you've been warned. You've been told. If you go up in there, you take your life in your own hands. He said, I'm not responsible for it. You've been warned. And then I looked at them and I'm like, you can tell they're getting more sicker. And I'm like, are you okay? And they go, no, my wife said, no, I'm getting sicker by the minute. And I'm like, we need to leave then because I can't drive, but I could if I had to in emergency. But by state legal rights, I couldn't drive. And so we decided to leave then, and we loaded up in the car and left. And the people, as we was getting in the car to leave, they went over and got in their truck out. They didn't follow us out. I don't know if they just sat there to watch them or what.
Wow. That's an amazing story, and it's funny you brought a couple of key points in there too, man. I've heard two other encounters with the infrasound attack that these dogmans do on them. Chuck Larson told me a story one time. He was driving down an infamous road in New Jersey called Bray Road. Have you ever heard of this road before, Tim?
Yep. I've heard this story.
Yeah. What's that attacker called again? What'd you say it was? Infrasound, right?
Infrasound.
Yeah, Steve, are you familiar with the infrasound attack? So Chuck Larson told me this story that he was driving down this road in New Jersey, up your way, Steve. Matter of fact, you should go check it out.
I don't mean to cut you off here, but I have heard of Bray Road, but I thought that was out in Michigan.
No, he told me. I think he said it was in North New Jersey, where it's where he lives, up there somewhere you guys are at, right?
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
He said it was a shortcut for him to come home from work or something like that, and he was going through around duskish time, and in his car, same thing that Tim described. He had to pull over to the side of the road, and he got hit by this infrasound something or whatever. He was getting nauseous and sick, and then like 5 minutes, like it debilitated him. Right, 5 minutes later, he drove off. So Chuck, when you watch this video, Chuck, put that in the comments if I butchered anything on that as well. But also, one of my buddies down in Tennessee, towards the Georgia line, down in Tennessee, he was on a cryptid investigation in Mountain City, Tennessee. Are you familiar with that area by chance, Tim? Mountain City? Mm-hmm. It's a very, very remote and northeast part of Tennessee, towards the Virginia.
Smoky Mountain.
Yeah, Smoky Mountains. Yeah, and it's up in Smoky Mountains.
Smoky Mountain.
And he had a 3-man. It was him and two other members of his team. They were out and they were doing actually a dogman hunt, and they use laser tripwires to create sound, right? Perimeter alarms, right? And one of their perimeter alarms, their perimeter alarm started going off, but something was probing them. It would come from the right, then the left, and then the north. And they got kitted up and they were, like, okay, something's not right. And right then, one of his members started violently throwing up. He got hit by an infrasound attack right there on the spot, right? And it totally smoked him on that. And so that is an interesting detail for this correlation. I don't know if it was a dogman that was hitting Chuck when he was driving through. He just said he just had to pull over. I don't know if something was looking at him or trying to get in on it. But that phenomenon is real. I've heard it, like I said, a couple of times. Are you familiar with the Joe Barger story out of Michigan, by chance?
No.
So he didn't have that happen to him, but he actually, goes into great detail about like a dogman encounter he has up there. And it led me to develop my own type of theory about these things. Have you heard the theory that some of these are lab grown by chance, Tim? Have you heard this lab grown dogman?
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it from military
right.
people on podcasts from the military telling it. They had them in Vietnam.
Yep.
They used them to clear tunnels.
Yeah.
And they made a deal with them. The handlers made a deal with them. If they done all that they were supposed to do over there, when they brought them back to here, they'd be released.
So, yeah. So fun times. So supposedly the lab grown ones don't have this ability to hit you with the infrasound. Only the naturally bred ones, whatever their lineage might be, have the ability, enigmites, to make you throw up. So fun fact, if you're ever in the woods and you get nauseous, you're about to die. So, like Tim says, you only die once, right, Tim? So let's get a good shot.
Yep. You only gonna die once, but if you get attacked in the woods, you just hope it's quick and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So Tim, I'm gonna throw the same. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Please.
My wife stayed sick for like 3 days after that, and the gentleman that was with us, it took him till the next day to get over it.
Yeah, wow.
And Daryl Denton and Martin Groves, if you ever heard any of their encounters in the LBL, they seen it with their eyes, and they hit them with infrasound, so they knew it come from the dogman they was looking at.
Yeah. It's funny because he doesn't know this yet, but that's his next homework is the LBL, Land Between the Lakes. I've talked to you about this before, Steve, or whatever. The Land Between the Lakes down there in Kentucky, and then Harley Owens told me that it bleeds over a little bit into Tennessee as well. And so supposedly there was a Bigfoot war that took place down there between the Dogmen and the Bigfoot. I guess some Dogmans actually, they tore up some people in a camper and it led to this like escalation between them. So
that was fun. The 80s.
Yeah, so that'll be fun, Steve. I always give Steve the worst case scenarios, man. Like he always does the murder cases with me, man.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Siege of Zenobia, the Portlock murders. Yeah, I always give Steve the ones where they'll have the happy endings, right?
The LBL is a pretty bad place now. I mean,
yeah.
There's quite a few researchers who go down there, and they've had experiences with not just Dogman, Bigfoot, ghosts, other cryptids like the crawlers.
Yeah,
they've all been seen there.
Yeah, those are the worst. The crawlers, I think, are the worst, in my opinion, right? And I've talked to a couple people. So people have sent me. I got a big backlog of people wanting to come on the show and tell me their stories. But anybody that talks about the LBL, about every other one says they'll never go back. I mean, like in their stories, like, yeah, man, I'll never go back down there. I'll never go back down there too. Also, too, the LBL is a national forest, and people are like, I thought I did the right thing. I left my guns in the car. I'll never do that again. I don't care what they say. I don't care if I get stopped. I don't care. They won't go into the LBL unarmed, right? And I'm thinking like, well, I didn't know that wasn't a law, because I must break that law a lot, because I don't ever go out without something, right? So.
Well, in the park, if I ain't mistaken, in the park there, if you're not a resident of Kentucky, you cannot carry a weapon.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me. So they're like, and these guys are like, if I ever go back in there again, I'm just breaking that law. That's what they say. I'm just going in there. I'm never going in there. I'll never go in there without a gun again. I'm just breaking the law, is what they said. I'm like, all right then. So it's a family spot, family vacation.
Yeah, but if it's at night or they catch you off guard, you ain't never going to make it to that weapon, anyways.
Yeah,
if they want you. You're never going to get it up to get a shot.
That's the thing. And so so the question I have, this is the same question I ask everybody when as the Bigfoot. Tim, what do you think these dogmen are? Because either people just weren't talking about them, but recently, like since since 4 or 5 years ago, I never even heard about these things, man. Now it's like more and more and more and more people are talking about these dogmen. So what do you think they are, Tim?
They're a hybrid of some kind of human mixed with canine, but they're more animalistic. They're more canine than they are human-like, because they are really, really aggressive.
They're nasty. Steve?
Yep.
What do you think?
I'm in the same boat as you. I don't really know much about them. I've done a little bit of reading, a little bit of research, and the one thing that seems to set them apart from, say, werewolves or anything else is that a lot of these other cryptids like that are known to be shapeshifters, right? And the dogmen, that's just what they are. They're these like you're saying, these bipedal dog human almost hybrids. So I don't know what the hell where they would have came from or anything like that, but they certainly sound vicious, and certainly not something I want to be encountering.
No, I've never heard a cool Dogman story ever. Like, hey, it's so cool. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard that. Supposedly they're out there, but like I've yet to come across one like, oh my God, we were in trouble and the Dogman showed up and hey, chased away. No, man. So, yeah, that hasn't came down my way. Tim, have you ever heard of a Dogman being cool or?
No. Ohio's been known for dogman sightings since the first one that I heard of was in this area, which is only like 40 miles from me. But it's called in a town called Bucyrus. That was in the early 80s, and it was a high school ball player was out doing his evening run and was followed in the cornfield, and when he got to the crossroad and turned to go to his friend's house because he knowed something was following him as he was running down the road, and his friend lived at the crossroad, lived a couple hundred yards up that way, and his house was still over a half a mile away. So he went towards his friend's house, and he said it come out of the cornfield, and he seen it, and he said it was a werewolf looking creature. And there's the most famous one in Ohio is in Akron, which is probably 70 miles to the east of me. Is Matt has the 412 YouTube channel and Facebook page. Matt Evern or something like it is his last name. He had that in the early 80s. I think he said he was 16 then.
Wow. That's crazy. I bet he ran that 100 yards, probably broke 4 world records breaking that sprint down there, right? You'd have seen that thing, but
he was. Yeah, he was. That was the one in Bucyrus, but the one in Akron was in an old foundry and steel mill that him and his buddies used to go over and hang out and mess around in.
Really?
At night and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so since I started this channel, I'm convinced when I walk down the street, I'm like, werewolf, dogman, lizard man. All I do is look at people, man. I'm like, yeah, I can tell. Yeah, Men in Black. Yeah, NPC, Romulan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. All I'm doing is like, so yeah, that's all I do now is look at it. So I do a lot. We also do a lot of deep dives in here. We dive into a lot of the history aspects, and we try to usually pull, given the opportunity to prepare for a topic long enough, we come at it from different angles. We won't exchange notes. We'll do it during the show where we'll talk about what we came across. And some of these Dogman's things that we came across, Dogmen or whatever, is that I went down a couple rabbit holes about how at the end of World War II, U.S. military personnel were reporting encountering what they call dogmen or werewolves on the battlefield, right? And there is actually a forest. I want to say it's in Austria. It's called the Black Forest. I can't remember the name of it in German or Austrian or whatever the native tongue would be. But that is the first recorded werewolf story that you'll ever find about a blacksmith who was terrorizing a village. Are you familiar with this, Tim? This story?
Nope.
And they caught him, and he wolfed out, and they restrained him or whatever, and they ended up killing him or whatever. But that forest, the Black Forest, is where Hansel and Gretel was written, and all these old crazy stories were written. They originate from, this area in Austria, right? And a lot of people that I've talked to, like I said, there's some facts that we can't get into. It was after World War II, Operation Paperclip happened, and we rounded up every German scientist we could get our hand on. We rounded them up, right? And that's when some people say that the United States of America Super Soldier program is the Dogman program, and we brought it back during Operation Paperclip. When we came across, we brought it back. I wasn't aware of the tunnel rat scenarios in Vietnam, but it makes perfect sense. Also, I did conversations here with another research team, Julia and Lisa, out of New Zealand and Australia, the Cryptids Women's Society, and right about the end of Vietnam or the beginning of Vietnam, they started getting Dogman reportings in Australia, like literally, like they started getting them down there, right? And so they some very great stories. I mean, everything in Australia will kill you. A grasshopper will carry you away and kill you in Australia, right? So that's all they would need down there. Is here, you want to talk about an aggressive Bigfoot? Go look up what a yowie is, man. Like the Australian Bigfoot. Yeah, there's no chill on those bad boys, right? So go ahead. It makes sense that they'll throw a freaking Dogman in the mix on there as well. But yeah, so that's where I also talk to people that say that, you read the book of Enoch and you get into the Watchers and the Anunnaki and, the hybridization and, the DNA splicing and mixing, that it could have been, you can't rule that out as well. But as a minimum, what we don't on the show, what's that, Steve?
No.
Oh, sorry. So a minimum, what we talk about on the show is that it's something. All right. So I don't know about you, Tim, but I'm sure you do. You get your critics. If you're in the woods and you see, I don't know, 4 sets of yellow glowing eyes staring back at you, it's something. All right. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something, right? So you can't just say, oh no, it's
Yep.
not this, that's not it's you saw something, whether or not, and again, it's always what we talk about is that, oh, why can't you ever recover a body? And it's very simple. If you've never came across a dead deer in the forest either, because any animal that's wiped, any kill is cleaned up within 24 hours. Like I said, the possums will eat the bones at night. It'll come, it'll run full circle. Then I have to ask myself, is because maybe they've never killed a dogman before. Like Joe Barger's the only one I've ever heard who's actually killed a dogman, right? He's the only one right out of Michigan. And it was attacking his truck, right? But no one else has came forward saying, hey, they dropped it.
Now there's a guy in Ohio. I've heard him on a podcast before. He killed one that was trying to kill his brother in southern Ohio. This would have been in the mid 70s. He shot it with a 30-06. The first time he hit it, it was running at his brother. His brother had a 30-30. His brother was emptied the gun into its chest as it's running at him. And the brother that killed it was sitting like 100 feet to the side of him. They was hunting on their property, deer hunting, illegal with high-powered rifles. But that ain't the point. They was on their property.
Who has it?
And
who has it? Right?
And yep. And he shot it the first time, hit it in it's the shoulder as it's running at his brother. And then the second shot, he figured if I want to miss, I'm going to have to shoot it in the head. It's the only thing that's going to stop it.
Yeah.
Because the shoulder shot didn't even flinch. He didn't even flinch. And that's with a 30-06. And so he aimed just in front of its head, and luckily he got the headshot. And when it died, it took its hand and went like this on his brother's chest, and he had hunting coats, bibbed overalls and all, and it went clean to the flesh, the nails did.
Wow. Ouch.
And he killed the Dogman, and the story ended up, his brother went to the hospital, had to get stitched up, and they put it off as a canine attack. And the men in black and black SUV showed up before they ever got out of the hospital. And the body ended up, the other dogmen come because they left a agent to guard it that night. And the other dogmen come back and got the body while the agent was sitting there, supposed to have been watching it, fell asleep.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be a true story. This guy is in his late 70s, and he said, I don't have no reason to lie about none of it. This happened in the 70s when he did it.
Wow. That answers a lot of questions. So, I mean, 30-06, that's my go-to round, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, headshots authorized there, Steve. You know what I'm saying? There's no don't waste ammo on the legs, bro. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Yeah. That is amazing. That's amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, there's been cryptids killed. I know people that's killed them. I know they killed them and buried them.
So yes.
Because you're not bringing them out to the public. No way, shape, or form. The agencies will not let it happen. If you get too close to when you're researching to getting too much evidence to prove it, you'll get visits. I know several people gets visits told to stop.
So Tim, why do you think they're so scared of letting this? What do you think they'll go to? Like Steve and I, like I said during our research, Steve, right? The cover up
every time.
They show up every time, man. In
Hanovia, remember the brothers? Yeah, they brought it up, and now no one knows where those brothers are anymore.
They're gone. They're in Whitsecker or somewhere. New names or whatever, right?
Yep.
So Tim, why do you think they go to such great lengths to cover up this stuff?
Well, if they bring it out to the public and telling that there are these creatures, all different kinds of creatures out here in these national forests, and some of them are cause people to disappear and stuff. would you think anybody go to the national forest? These logging companies and stuff, they're going to have to set timber and land aside to provide a habitat for these creatures. You're talking no drilling for gas, oil, minerals, lumber.
Yeah, no.
You're talking all this stuff going to take a major hit. And you're talking billions and trillions of dollars between park services and all these products.
Yeah, I could see the idiots. I can see the idiots with purple hair just saying, "Dogmen are people too." It's just out there like, save the forest. Dogmen are people. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, they'll be like, "Hey, I'm Steve. I'm a dogman." I'm saying, I just want to live in peace. That's it, man. Nah, that makes a lot of sense on it. So Tim, was this? That Dogman encounter, that was in the same cave area that you had your Sasquatch encounter, right?
Yep.
Wow. And that's another thing.
Yeah, and like I said, if you go in to research searching for these cryptids, and you get in the area where there's Bigfoot, you can there are also clans of Bigfoot, and then they can be travelers, stragglers of Dogmen to come through the same area because they need the same thing: food, water, and shelter. Their territories overlapping, and there's been other places down there in that area, Salt Fork, and in the areas of them hills and stuff, even around, like I said, close to here, there's been Dogmen sightings. I've had Bigfoot come right here in my yard. I've got pictures of a Bigfoot 3.5 miles up the road from where I live, right here on the river. My research area is about 30 miles southwest of here. I got pictures of them there. If you go on our group, go into the featured, you'll see some of our pictures. And I mean, they're not red circled or... when you look at them, you know what you're looking at.
All right.
There's no doubt.
So, Steve, add Ohio to Oklahoma for us that we've been sleeping on.
The two O states, I guess. That's
yeah, man. Yeah, because we I used to dismiss Oklahoma like, yeah, what goes on in Oklahoma, and evidently a lot. I'm saying the same way, right?
The gnarliest Bigfoot encounters I've ever heard coming out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure, right? And now, so Southern Ohio seems like it's a hot spot too for everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're up the Appalachian. The east side of Ohio has the Appalachian hills, from the southern tip on the eastern side all the way up to the northern tip going into Pennsylvania and New York. You have the foothills of the Appalachians and the Alleghenies and all that through there.
Okay.
So then you have the Ohio River, the Baltic, and all them other rivers all on that side of the state. And then Ohio has hundreds of rivers and creeks and lakes, and you have water, you have plenty of deer, you have crops, you have forest.
People? The occasional people come showing up?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get away from the bigger cities like Cleveland, Columbus and stuff. You have smaller towns, but you have a lot of rural area. I mean, there's lots miles of wilderness.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well,
it's everybody makes a mistake thinking Ohio is just a metropolis, the whole state, but no, you just have that in areas.
Yeah. I just learned that right now myself, because I'm not gonna lie. I would dismiss Ohio. Like, yeah, man, like, what? There ain't no Bigfoots in Ohio. Yeah, they are. There's a lot of them up there, and a lot of Dogman too. So you've been warned.
We're the third most sightings in the United States is Ohio.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that. All right. So what's number? Do you know number 1 and 2, Tim, by chance?
California is 1, and see, California, Ohio, and
Washington State, maybe.
Washington.
Yep. All right then. That's because the hillbillies in the South don't know how to use laptops. That's what it is, man. I'm telling you right now, man. That's it. That's it. But we got them beat. We got them beat.
That's like my wife just went to Arkansas, and she just got back. This is her second trip to Arkansas. Now they have them there. She had quite a few encounters out there in Arkansas with them, and the research groups out there, they invited her out and paid for her trip there and everything. And good people, and they research hard.
Wow.
And they have their Bigfoot out there are a little more aggressive than they are here.
Well, yeah. Check out Oklahoma.
Well, you're right. You're right at the edge of Oklahoma and Arkansas. She was in the right. I think she said she was only like 30 miles from Oklahoma, and then like 70 miles from northeast Texas, and she's right there in the mountains.
And that makes sense because Joe, if I remember correctly, when we were talking about Honobia, that was southeast Oklahoma,
LaFleur County.
LaFleur County, yeah. And that's going to be right there, exactly where you're talking about. Tim.
That's
Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, all right there in that corner.
Yeah, I would go in there kitted up. Like I would go in there, like the camera would be the last thing I would grab going in there. Yeah, for sure. Steve, you got anything for Tim before we let him go?
No, I just want to say, Tim, this is some really great stories, and appreciate you coming on and sharing your encounters with us, because I learned a lot in this past hour.
Yeah.
More than I knew prior about it. Like we were just saying, I would have slept on Ohio.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting stuff you got going on up there.
For sure. I'm gonna pull some of those threads, Tim, right there, and now I'm gonna drop the Grassman. Like, you know about they call him Grassman up there. I'm gonna drop that like I know it, right? Like, what are we talking about? We talking about the Grassman, or are we talking about like a Bigfoot? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, right? There's 5 different species of Bigfoot.
Yeah, so
that live in the United States.
Yeah, I'm slowly working my way down that list right there. The type 1, the Patterson Gilman type or whatever, and we're working our way down there as well, all the way down to the skunk apes down there in Florida. Anyways, Tim, man, we're coming up on time, man. Thanks for coming on the show, dude. And it's great, man. If you wouldn't mind, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to have you back on and put another 5th square in here with a couple other researchers that I talk with, man. I don't know, have you, like I said, now that we're in contact on like Facebook or whatever, and so to fill these out to do it, and some projects that we're working on as well is a funny. You mentioned live before. I'm looking at bringing on like a live panel. I get a lot of questions sent to me, and I'm notoriously not a good texter responder, right, Steve? Mm-hmm. I'm notorious. Tim, you probably figure that out too, man. It's nothing personal, man. It's just I just go down the list, right? And so when I answer it and go on to the next one, somebody else gets to the front. So a lot of people send me questions about Bigfoots and Dogmans and all this other stuff. And some of the questions, like I said, I just learned what the Grassman was, and I'm always like, you know what? I had told Steve earlier in this year, you know what? I'm going to do like a panel where I'm going to bring all these researchers on together, and I'm just going to copy and paste these questions out, man. And I'm just going to read them out and just have you guys just round rob them, shoot them out, man. So Tim, I'd like to have you back on for a segment of that to represent Ohio, man, to be honest, man, because got some New Jersey boys, Tennessee boys, and you're my first Ohio guy, man. So yeah, you need to come in and rep your state, bro.
Nah, ain't no problem. I'll come back on. I enjoyed it, and I got many more stories, encounters. I don't call them stories; they're encounters.
Right.
But we've seen a lot of them.
All right. I got my witness, Steve. You heard him. To me,
that's right.
To me, Tim, you just locked in for life. I'm gonna drop your name now. If anybody meet from Ohio, man, if you don't know Tim, no, you ain't serious. Well, you ain't in that life, man.
We're getting pretty well known from coast to coast around the world already. Yeah. I mean, I've done with one channel, I did a like 12 video series podcasts, lives, and Grizzly, Bigfoot Grizzly. It's called Bigfoot Files. If you want to go watch them, there's a lot of information shared in them.
Okay.
Even on our Ohio Bigfoot Researchers group, there's a lot of information shared there. A lot of investigators, researchers, knowers that's in the group, and they share their encounters and their pictures and stuff. Like I said, our pictures is in there. If you want to see what they really look like, we got face shots of a female and a babies, and they're in the group. Come join the group, answer all the questions, and you'll become a member.
There you go. So,
and you'll have access to see all that stuff.
Tell them the name one more time, Tim.
Ohio Bigfoot Researchers.
Ohio Bigfoot Researchers on Facebook.
Yeah, with the S on the end. Yep.
S, plural. On Facebook.
Yeah, researchers.
On YouTube. So Enigmites, do us a favor. Go over there. Show Tim some love for coming on the show and hanging out with us. Go over there. Follow me on YouTube or whatever. You know how we do around here. But you also know how we wrap it up. Losers, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions about the Ohio Grassman, I'm not your guy. But leave them in the comments down there. Tim will answer them. We'll fire it off. Or go follow Tim and his group on his Facebook page over there. All that will be in the video description. And you can talk to him directly, right? Because Tim probably does message back real quick. I'm the one that probably
I'm not good at this part, but I'll get to you.
We'll get to you.
Or I'll video call you or something.
Exactly.
On Messenger.
Steve, you got anything, Steve?
I'm done. I'm good.
All right, nerds. You know how I do. That's all you get for $1. And we're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.